Inflation is the big issue in India. Currently, inflation is above the target of the RBI. Do you see interest rates rising faster than expected because of that?
No, inflation definitely in last 3 years, the stance of the monetary policy and the whole policy of Reserve Bank of India has been about containing the inflation. And they have been, I would say, reasonably successful in that. We have seen pickup in the yields, government bonds, and that was a bit unusual, 100 basis point change. But going forward, our expectation is that this number should stabilize. And at least in next 6 months, I don't foresee that there will be any major upward movement further as far as the RBI policy rate is concerned or the yields on the government bond is concerned.
So having said that, when do you see rates moving?
I will see rates, rather I would say that I am seeing rates remaining stable for some time.
What's some time?
Some time means at least a year or so.
Now, Rajnish, the other issue in India is bad loans among banks, among the highest in the world. We're looking at $210 billion. Is it getting any better, given the injection from the government?
So the capitalization of the public sector banks, which government announced, which is approximately $30 billion, that is a big positive for the banking system in the country because the public sector banks control 70% of the assets. As far as the bad assets is concerned, the recognition part where all the bad assets were to be recognized, that part is over now, and whatever is remaining, if any, that I am hopeful that all the banks would be able to recognize within this quarter, which is December quarter. And insolvency and bankruptcy code, which is new and which got enacted in 2016. Several cases were referred in July 17. And now we are in the resolution phase. The resolution process in respect of these cases is in very advanced stage. 2018, in my view, is much, much better as far as the NPAs in the banking system are concerned.
Much better, but when will we see the end of the bad debt issue in India?
No, you know the size of the problem. So it is, as you have said, that it is a big problem. So big problem cannot be resolved in 3 or 6 months. But if we look at the trend, as a banker, if I look at the trend, the fresh slippages or fresh accretion through the NPAs, that has considerably come down.
What is the biggest problem, the biggest challenges for the Indian banking sector right now?
The biggest challenge would be that through whatever process we adopt for resolution of the NPAs, either through the insolvency code or any other method where the bad assets are sold, there will be a gap in the provisioning. And that is precisely where the support from the government is required. And for the banking system to come out of the problem, we have to provide for those loan losses which have been incurred. And that will take a little bit of time because one is the government support by way of the capital, and second is the process itself, which though after the NCLT process, the time periods are being honored. So far, I have seen that the time periods which are given in the code, we are by and large able to stick to those. So ultimately, it is the issue around provisioning for the loan loss, taking them into your balance sheet and P&L, and move forward.
Prime Minister Modi will be delivering a speech in about 1.5 hours, the first Indian leader to be here in more than 20 years. What is a crucial message? What message should be sent to investors? Why aren't they buying yet into the Indian growth story?
So I will answer your second observation first. So I believe that there is a lot of interest in investing in India, and the pace of the reforms has been very fast, and the breadth of the reforms also is very wide, very broad. So in that context, we are seeing a lot of FDI, and India today is the third economy to receive the maximum FDI after USA and China. But I think the key message, we all are very excited about Prime Minister Modi's visit to Davos. The key message we are expecting that even if though the world is moving more and more towards protectionism, but India is still open to the business.
Now, one of the key issues is demonetization, which Modi implemented. Some have called it an epic failure. What do you make of that policy?
I think this is a very early judgment if somebody is calling it an epic failure, because a measure as sweeping as demonetization, the criteria on which it has to be measured, first people should decide that what is the criteria on which the success or failure should be measured. So if the idea of demonetization was formalization of economy and bringing more and more people into the tax base, and as well as the general awareness among the public and the people that taxes have to be paid, to that extent it has, in my view, succeeded in its effort. Second is about digitization of the economy, and whatever way we look at it, pre-demonetization and post-demonetization, the numbers are staggering as far as the digitalization of the economy is concerned. And digitalization is not only for the sake of digitization. There are many, many benefits which are attached to that process, formalization of the economy, where even from the SME's perspective, which reportedly and which people said were very adversely affected during the demonetization period. But if you look at the availability of the credit, once they become part of the formal system and the data or the cash flows are captured, then for the lender's perspective also how easy it becomes to lend them. So that is, I think, a big benefit which is still people have not accounted for or taken into consideration.